Good afternoon, good evening, good Cynthia, good y'all, whatever it may be where you are. I'm not sports cards. Very special episode today. Got Star Wars Sith Tony here. I'm super excited to talk to another Star Wars collector. It's such a Tony. Welcome, Sith. Welcome. Thanks for showing up.
Yes, thank you for having me, man. The second you messaged me, I was like, hell yeah, I want to come on and talk Star Wars and cards. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like I want to go in both directions. So we were chatting a few seconds before we came on, and I was like, let's just go live because I'm like,
Yeah.
let me explain to you how I found you, and because it's kind of like it turns out we had more connected than I thought we would.
Yeah.
So again, I'm flicking through looking for videos on Phantom Menace cards. And I see this video, this guy saying I went to MegaCon and was it MegaCon?
It was a smaller con. It was like a Central Florida Comic Con or some smaller convention. Yeah.
And I see you going through the cards, and it's like you're talking about some guy was selling sets or whatever, and I'm watching you go through. I guess it was Attack of the Clones, I think.
Oh yeah, the whole set in the little clear case.
Yeah, you're going through Attack of the Clones, and you're so hyped about it. Like you're going through like the whole, I'm going through card by card. I'm like, here's every different scene, and I'm like, this guy gets it. He gets it, and then yesterday. So then I reach out. I'm like, this is somebody. I saw you subscribe to my channel. I'm like, this is somebody that would probably be fun to talk to.
Yeah.
And then I found out that like a mutual friend of ours had sent you a bunch of like Star Wars cards, right? Is that
So no, well, actually, I want to say he might have created the monster that I am now with the cards, but it's only because I didn't know they exist. I met Sam at ICCC in Nashville, Tennessee. And I walked by his table and he had a ton of cool cards that I didn't know existed and I never seen. And this is the first thing that I bought from him. I saw this slab and I'm like, yo, I like Luke, Return of the Jedi Luke, PSA 10, $20. So I bought that, showed my buddies. We came back, we bought more. The next day we were like, hey, where are your cards at? We want to go through them again. We bought more. And then from there, it like unlocked this thing where I started doing research and I found this set and then that set. And now when I go to these shows, I'm finding them. So like he gave me the knowledge that's where it started, but it's all from Sam's because I had no idea all these cards existed.
It was awesome to see somebody kind of seeing stuff for the first time.
Everything.
That was a Star Wars collector. And that's why I was like, it'd be fun to talk to you. And I have to admit, I've watched some of your videos. Like we kind of go in different circles.
Oh yeah,
and we definitely have different points of view on Star Wars. Not like so I figure like let's just start at the basics. Like if you don't mind, tell me like how did you become a Star Wars nut like myself?
So early 90s, my dad had the VHS box set. So that's the first time I ever saw Star Wars. So New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, constantly put in the VCR, rewind over and over and over for the whole 90s. I think the box set was 92 when it came out. So that's when I first saw Star Wars. And then 99 came around. I saw Phantom Menace in theaters. It was so cool to see it on the big screen. I saw all the prequels in theaters as they came out. And then, 2015, Fandom Menace came back, Star Wars started coming back and got into it again, and just been into it really since then.
So if you don't mind me asking you, how old are you?
I'm 39. I was born in 85, so I missed the cutoff to see like the OT in theaters.
That's like, so, again, for many years, I had a few friends who were into Star Wars and we would talk back and forth. And then when I got in the car, I started meeting people that are like way into it. And I started asking questions to try to understand people's point of view. And I'm not sure about yours of like, so you're like, I missed the OT, but I was there for kind of the prequel trilogy. And that is something to me that confounded me when I first started encountering people. I'm just older. I'm about 10 years older than you.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna lead into this, which is it's a good way to get an understanding of who you are.
Yeah.
You gotta rank me the movies. So
Oh, okay. So, well, before I rank,
go ahead.
before I rank, for the longest, even after watching the prequels, I was always OT over prequels for the longest. It wasn't until 2017, 2018 when I saw the Clone Wars and Rebels. I got into Clone Wars and Rebels late, and adding that much more depth into the prequels made me appreciate the prequels more. It's kind of close, but I kind of like the prequels a little bit more. But if I were to rank all six, it would be Revenge.
Oh, I like how you go. I'm not even talking about the other 5 movies, but go ahead.
Well, come on. We could do George. That could be separate. But if I'm ranking the original 6, where it all started, Revenge, A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Empire, Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones.
Okay. All right. Well, I want you to include the other 5 too. So like I get it.
So then after that, Rogue One, Force Awakens, Solo, Rise, and then Last Jedi.
Okay. All right. Well, I see when I first got it, I had a phrase I used for a little while called prequel loving troglodytes because I never understood how somebody could like, and this was again something I've since changed.
Yeah.
How people could like the prequel more than the original trilogy. And I began to understand is like, oh, they saw them in the theaters where they didn't, for me, like I am at like the youngest you can be to kind of do this, which is the very first movie I ever saw in the theater was A New Hope.
Oh, that's
at 4 years old. My aunt took me. I remember it's like one of my first. So I have this experience of like, and I do think this is a defining experience of if you didn't have to wait years to get the reveal after Empire, it's just a different experience, right? If you're like able to go boom, 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 you're like, oh, okay, it's just one story. Whereas if you saw them separately, the impact they had, I think, was entirely different. Just speculation. But again, the people have begun to like the prequels as much. It's nostalgia, right? It's this is mine type of thing. But so again, your Revenge is number 1 for you.
Yep.
A New Hope, Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Empire. Never heard Empire rank that low.
I know. I love Empire. It's cool, but like from the OT, I used to love Return of the Jedi, and that was my number 1 for the longest. But it's A New Hope out of the OT, because for me, that's the first one that I saw as a kid, and that's what like brought me into the world. So A New Hope has a special place in my heart.
I always rank A New Hope number 1 because again, having seen it as a standalone piece, nothing can exist without it, right? So it's kind of like it's the genesis. So it's hard to like you can talk about any other thing, but it's like this was where it all came from.
Yeah.
And I'm a like again, we'll get into shows in a second, but like I don't really need to go past my list, probably my top 3 before people get where I'm at. My list is A New Hope, Rogue One, Empire.
Ooh, nice. Rogue One. That's been in a lot of people's top 3, like for sure.
I mean, I watched your Andor trailer thing, which we'll get into, where you said you watch Andor. It's like again, kind of and I'm really interested to get your perspective because you talk to a lot more Star Wars people than I do about how people see this, because I get this sense that people think Star Wars is either like the rebellion or Jedis. So it's either no lightsabers or all lightsabers. And I mean, I don't know. So a lot of people are like, Andor doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. Or Rogue One or something like that. What's your feeling on that?
Rogue One. So for me, before Andor came out, I was excited because I loved Rogue One. Rogue One was great. And I watched the first season of Andor, and it was such a slow burn. It was so different than Rogue One. I didn't enjoy it as much. And like Yeah, I'm a sucker for lightsabers. There were no lightsabers, but that wasn't why I didn't enjoy it. But it was just a little weird where it was like, and a lot of people make this comment that it's just a lot of humans doing human stuff, not so many like aliens and weird different species that you would see in like traditional Star Wars media. But that was my first watch through. I'm rewatching it now, and I'm enjoying it a lot more now, knowing what it is. Because like in my mind, when I watched Andor the first time, I'm like, this is in the peak. Vader's running around, Maul's alive running around, Ahsoka, Rex, everybody's alive running around. So I'm expecting that somebody runs into something, and that kind of like ruined my first time going in. But now that I know I'm not going to see Darth Maul running Crimson Dawn, something cool like that, now I can enjoy it. So yeah.
Crimson Dawn's like, so I, again, to give you perspective, is like I'm almost purely on screen. So like I haven't read the comics. I read Dark like back in the 90s when there were early 90s when there was nothing. I read the These On books. I read the Dark Horse comics.
Nice.
But then when we got movies back, I kind of like I didn't keep going. So like there's a lot of of the canon that's in that area that I just don't know.
Okay.
And that frustrates people sometimes because they're like, "Don't you know that Darth Sidious did that?" And I'm like, "I don't know who that is. I don't know. I know." And but again, to your original point on Andor is I get that because that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, I want everything to connect all the time. There's so much cool stuff they're not exploring. But for me, again, being that New Hope child, that if you look at A New Hope, the amount of lightsabers in New Hope is actually pretty small.
Oh, like, yeah. Just Obi-Wan and Vader for a little bit, and then Luke when he ignites it. Yeah, that's really it. Yeah.
It's about the rebellion. Yeah. And to me, and that's what Andor is really about, is the seeds of the rebellion. And I think that's where I think like there are two kind of plots that we see. One is about the Jedi and one is about the rebellion. And the one with I'm grounded more. The best way I can describe this, I don't know if you play video games.
Yeah.
Oh, you do. You have Cal Kestis shirt on. So, yeah. But I always say in video games, I like to kill humans and not aliens. It's just the way I feel. So like kind of describes like that's why I love Star Wars, because it felt like an Earth movie in space. Yeah. It was lived in, and it was but again, that's why it's such a great community and subculture, because it's like you get to take whatever you want.
Yeah.
But okay, so shows. We'll get into the shows. Tell me a little bit about like how you have ranked the shows. Probably a little easier, I would guess.
Man, the shows, it's just.
Well, you can do live action, because animated is animated is different.
So live action for the shows, my number one is Ahsoka, but I'm a little biased because I love the Rebels animated series and like the prequel. So you're kind of getting like it's the continuation of Rebels. You got Hayden back being freaking Revenge of the Sith Hayden in there. So Ahsoka's my number one, even though technically it's probably not the best full show. Mando season 1 and season 2 will be next. Season 3 was a letdown for me. It didn't hit like 1 and 2 did. 1 and 2 felt like Star Wars and new, and like I really enjoyed it. And then what else is there? There's Andor.
Skeleton Crew, Andor and Acolyte, I guess.
So Acolyte's at the bottom. That was just it was just all over the place. Skeleton Crew was a lot of fun. I probably would have to put Andor above Skeleton Crew though. So after Mando, Andor, Skeleton Crew, Mando season 3, then Acolyte.
I mean, it's an interesting list and a valid, like I'm always about the argument, which is meaning like not that anybody has an opinion that they want, because it's an opinion, it's your own personal thing, but it's the why, right? It's here's the why. Like you mentioned with Ahsoka that you love Rebels and this is why you love it. Like, it's the very same reason I don't like it a ton.
Yeah,
because I feel like they had you said it right away. It's like doesn't feel like a whole show. Like,
oh no, it's season 5 of Rebels. It's season 5 of Rebels, 100%.
Half of it's like it needed 4 more episodes. Like
Yeah.
that was my biggest thing, is like, don't leave me on kind of a cliffhanger and we're gonna have to wait 3 years for it.
Yep.
And also, like you said, it's like it's very, and this is part of where it is like, it's hard to go from animation to live action, because animation is like 20 episodes, and we're like, there can be a throwaway episode. Live action, if she walks around for 2 minutes, I'm like, come on, let's go. We need stuff. I think Ahsoka, to me, it's hard for me to rank because it was a disappointment to me, but I still liked it. But which I wrote down this question before you even gave the list, before I asked, which is, this is a fun thing that I always ask Ahsoka fans, and I am one of them.
Yeah.
Where was she? Where was she?
Oh, during the OT, right?
Yeah. Where?
Yeah, that is a great question. I mean, what Filoni did with this, throwing her on Peridia, but this is still after Return of the Jedi, this timeline right now, right? Yeah. So what? I wonder if that'll ever get addressed.
I mean, I think it's really hard for me as a person who loves storytelling to go, I created this incredible character that everybody loves, who's there through Clone Wars, all through Rebels. Well, not all through Rebels, but till, Worlds. And then it's like, we don't know where she is. And it's like, I really thought they would address that in Ahsoka. Like in I was like, I would have been fine with, hey, she was in jail. Somebody had her in, or whatever. I find it so hard to feel like, we get the galaxy's huge, but like, these characters interweave, and their story. She met Leia before, so
you know what is even worse than that is, how did she meet Luke? Because when we saw her in that Book of Boba, we forgot about Book of Boba and Kenobi. Damn.
Good Kenobi. You could just but I'm not a Kenobi guy.
So Book of Boba, she already knew Luke, and I was a little like salty because I want to see the moment where Luke and Ahsoka meet each other, and they realize that you're my master's son, and then Luke's like, you're my dad's Padawan. Oh my God, we both know R2. Oh my God, what the hell? We missed that moment.
I like the way you're describing it. Was like, I like if it were like kind of a TikTok. Where it was just like, it's like they see each other and they run screaming towards each other in an airport, like, oh my God, you. No, that's a moment we were robbed of, and I'm a huge fan of like crisp storytelling, and there are always holes, but that one for me, it's just tough because I love Ahsoka and I want the answer to that question to be a good one. And there was mention of her training Sabine at some point, and like, I don't know. So we to give you an idea, Andor maybe it most likely is my favorite show, but it's more of like the last 3 episodes in the prison, when he's getting out. So like I really want to get, I know you're going to Celebration. We're going to talk about that. It's like, Sam almost talked me into spending like $300 on getting a Diego card signed. Ooh. I wanted to get a rookie that Howard doesn't panic with his, I love that line. That to me is so much of what, oh God, man, I'm enjoying this. This is a good way to spend a Sunday afternoon. It's like, let's just go deep. So, all right. So animated stuff, wait. Before we go there, we left out Kenobi and Book of Boba.
So those 2 shows are so tricky, and like they're both letdowns to me, because like Kenobi, it should have been a slam dunk home run, and then Boba is Boba freaking Fett. You brought him back from the dead in Mando season 2, and he was amazing. And then what we got in the show, it was like, Boba's a little tougher than that. And the best 2 episodes of Boba, one was a Mando episode and one was a Luke and Ahsoka episode. So like that was crazy. Kenobi, I expected it to be better than Mando season 1 and 2, because like you got Ewan back, you got Hayden back, the boys are back. but like it just wasn't. The one thing I'll say about Kenobi though, it brought Hayden back, and we got Hayden back, and he's doing all these conventions, and he pops up in Ahsoka, and at least we got that out of it, and Ewan as well, because Ewan's first convention was Celebration 2022 for Kenobi, and now he does them all the time. So that's like the one thing that we got, and that final fight in the finale, that talk that they had back and forth, that hit so hard, man. That was really, really good. But the rest, it's just inconsistent like they usually are. It's either really, really good or inconsistent.
I like it's another like Ahsoka was a much better version of this, of the idea of like you have all the ingredients. You have everything.
Oh, yeah.
You have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. And this is what we get.
Yeah, like should have been a home run, man. Oh,
I think a lot of that had to do with when they shot it, how they shot it, because some of their fight scenes
in the volume, it's like they need to be out on location, man.
Yeah, and just some of this, it felt. I always say like you're a little too young, but like there's a show, Land of the Lost, in the '70s, where they're like slee stacks. It looked like it was shot like and you cannot take Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And like this is where whatever budget they gave Acolyte, they should have just given $300 million to just the fight scenes. That's it.
That's another reason I was a little salty with Andor, because Andor got a big budget and Kenobi only got like 90 million or whatever it was.
I that part I understand.
Yeah.
But like Andor to me is the like I get it. Like I get to everybody who's like it's slow, it's whatever. And I'm like, I got right out of the gate, I was like, oh, this is not SWAT. This is the anti-Mando, right?
Yep.
So we'll get to cards at some point. And I want to get into animation. Like, I just want to bring up one moment because there's a lot of times in Star Wars over the years that your feels come into play.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah.
Watching, Hayden become Vader, and to me, what upset me was it's the last time I'm ever going to see Darth Vader on the screen, which didn't turn out to be true.
Yeah.
I was like, this has been my whole life, and it's over. But I want to point to one more, which is the end of Mando season 2.
Oh my God. I remember, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it, because I remember that moment like yesterday. I was in my apartment 3:40 in the morning because I woke up at 3 to watch it. And like the X-Wing comes in, you see a cloaked figure walking down. I stood up, and that whole sequence, I was standing up staring at my TV. And I'm like, is that Ahsoka? Because it was kind of like a slim body. I'm like, is that Ahsoka? And then the second you saw the glove and the green glow, I was like, that's not Luke. That's not Luke. I kept saying, that's not Luke the whole time until when he took it off. And like, dude, to feel that way was special, man. So special.
I mean, not to step on, like, to me, that is the best moment of Star Wars for maybe ever. It's a promise they have not fulfilled on, but in that moment, man, all I could remember saying was they broke out the fine china, which was like, it's on from here. Luke Skywalker is back. Anything can happen. I love this. I want to watch 400 more episodes right now. Lock me in a room. Give me a feeding tube. I just need this. And I don't know if we ever get another moment like that, it would be amazing, but I just don't know if we can. That was just so.
So I had another moment like that afterwards. But no, with that,
don't tell me it's the world between worlds.
Yes.
I'm going to get under my desk. I'm going to get
under So well, really, that whole episode was great, but I think it was the episode before that when like she died. And then she's in the world between worlds, and we see him. We knew he was going to be in the show, but we didn't know how. And that moment where he popped up and he was in his Revenge of the Sith outfit, it was great. What up, Greedo? That was a special moment because I love the prequels. I love huge Anakin Hayden fan. That moment was crazy, but the Luke moment, right away, I'm like, this was the Luke we deserved in the sequels. This is what I wanted to see after Return of the Jedi. Luke being a badass, like that was the Luke that I wanted to see in the sequels.
Listen, I'm with you. I just, you brought up Book of Boba Fett, and we talk a lot of things. A lot of this stuff comes down to expectations, which
Yep.
is, and my expectations for Book of Boba Fett were so high because literally we just talked about the moment, right? That moment where Luke comes in, and then it's the credits, and then we get Boba sitting on the throne, on Jabba's throne. You're like, oh my god, you're like, let's do this again. And then we get Book of Boba Fett, and we're like stuck in the Tusken Raider, like in the desert for a while. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh, this is so boring. And then it's like, no, it's Mando season 2.5. Here we go. We got Grogu training with Ahsoka and Luke, and on my rewatch of Book of Boba, I was like, this is better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, because now that I know what to expect, true fan to watch. Been there 77 cards, definitely collect toys, had them all over my life, but the memories are gold. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like Star Wars. But again, I'm just getting worked up on a Sunday afternoon just thinking about that. Like I a few months ago, I just started watching reactions of people watching.
I love watching those videos because I love it. I love it. Of that moment in particular.
I was like, I need to buy Mando cards. Like I have been collecting. I'm a rookie card collector, which we'll get into as we get into cards. So I was like, I need more Mando rookies and Grogu rookies. I just bought as much as I could. But I was like, just watching. I was like, seeing everybody feel the way I felt. I was like, this is the nostalgia moment down the road, right?
Yeah.
Like where kids in 10 or 15 years are gonna be like, I was watching this with my mom and dad, and they were jumping up and down, and I was like, I just, that's what gets there. So, all right, we'll go into let me get your opinion on the animation, although there's not as much to talk about, but I'm assuming break it up however you want. How you look at the animation stuff.
My top flip flops between Clone Wars and Rebels. I love the story in Rebels. Rebels is slept on because Rebels is like a buffet because you have a whole new family, but Vader pops up, Leia pops up, 3PO R2 pops up, Lando pops up. You have all the originals in there basically. But Clone Wars season 7, that last 4 episodes, like the Revenge of the Sith from the point of view of Rex, Ahsoka, and Maul, was just amazing. So 1 and 2, Rebels and Clone Wars. 3 is Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi was amazing when that came out. The Dooku stories in there was so good. Then I'll probably would have to go Bad Batch. Bad Batch is like, it's either a really, really good, really fun, or like a filler Sid mission where they're just doing something random for no reason. But there's some really good moments in Bad Batch. Then Tales of the Empire, I'll put it at the bottom because it was a letdown. Tales of the Jedi was so much more enjoyable for me than Tales of the Empire. And then Visions is like, I don't know. Visions is cool. I either really like the episode or it's not for me, but that's a cool animation style. So it's a little unique for Visions.
I mean, I can't get into Visions. I haven't been able to finish it. It's just, I mean, listen, I'm willing to admit when, like, in life, I don't like coffee, I don't like sushi. And those are both things that I wish if I did, my life would be better, but I don't. There's nothing I can do about it. I can try, and people be like, no, try it this way. I'm like, I don't like it. I wish I did. It seems so much fun. You're so into it. And that's kind of the way I feel about Visions. Is like, I have respect for it and people that enjoy it.
Yeah.
But when I look at the animation, I definitely have to, like, I think if you take Clone Wars and you cut it in half, right? Where you're like, let's take the second half of Clone Wars, and the first half is more of like, we don't know what we're doing. And then, because if you take a series alone, I think Rebels is better. It just works in a world where it gets everything. It can touch Ahsoka, but it can also touch it can move back and forth. and brings Rex back, all these different things. But Clone Wars, the first couple seasons was very Saturday morning cartoonish.
Yep. To me, it's like season 3 or season 4 is when it starts to get good, and then you get really good stories.
Yeah, I mean, like starting, when Ahsoka, decides not to be a Jedi. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah,
you haven't seen, if you're watching this and you haven't seen Clone Wars, but I mean, I love Rebels, and there have been some rumors. Well, I'll go on that one second. Bad Batch season 3 let me down. I thought
really.
Well, I was like, I wanted the connections. We want different connections, right? Like you probably were excited when Asajj came in.
Oh, I love Asajj because I'm a sucker for Asajj.
See, I'm like, I wanted the actual Rebel crew. I'm like, wait a minute. We start with Caleb Dune. How do we not go full circle and bring Kanan in?
We had and wasn't there an episode with Young Hera with Chopper with Omega?
It's like we're like why don't give me a little fan service? And they bring Saw Gerrera in the second season. They're talking about Project Stardust, and I'm like, we just forgot about Project Stardust.
Yeah.
So again, the things I was hoping to do, they did. I like Bad Batch. I just I just wish they had given me a little my fan service.
Yeah, gotcha.
Great. So okay, now we're gonna go into collectibles, celebration cards, all this. But you got to kind of know where somebody's coming from before you get into that. But okay, so Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down, or however it's gonna. I'm not getting that. What I'm saying is, you get the job. What are you doing?
Oh damn, bro. Oh god damn. Well,
hey. I mean, listen, I asked the real questions here.
I mean, part of me wants to just say, let John and Dave cook and give them whatever freedom that they want and cancel anything that KK had planned out. Because supposedly she has like 3 or 4 Rey movies, this and that. I feel you need to just clean all that stuff out. And it would be nice to, I don't want to say retcon the sequels. I'm not a big sequels fan. And there's a lot of people that's their first movies. But like, I want George's sequel trilogy with Luke going against Maul and Darth Talon, supposedly. I would love to see that, but I would just let Dave and John cook and clear out anything that KK had planned, just because I'm just sick of hearing like, oh, they want to do this, they want to do that. Nothing happens. Every celebration, they announce 3 more movies, 3 more shows, and now they're on shelves. They're still writing the script. They can't find a director. So I just want consistency. Let John and Dave cook, man. Okay. Mando season 1 and season 2 is an example of John and Dave cooking and supposedly not getting bothered. And season 3, I feel like KK was bothering, trying to rush Grogu back in, throw in Lizzo and Jack Black because they're big names. So yeah.
I mean, anytime I watch a show or a movie and I feel like there's the ride, like you're like, here's gonna be the ride, it drives me up a wall. I'm like, I don't make it so apparent. But if it's me, I'm literally saying I'm disavowing the sequel trilogy. I'm going, listen, I'm gonna go 2 ways. I'll give you the first one first, which is less. Is like, Dave Filoni, I love you. You're amazing in animation. I want you to make.
Yeah.
I want you to make where Ahsoka was. I want you to make Rebels 6. I want you to explore that whole time period there, because that's what you're best at. Now, if you want to go or the Mandoverse, but I would go. I don't know who I'd go to, because Tony Gilroy would be like, I'll make Star Wars movies, but you'll never know what the character is. I'm going to take Bix Caleen and we're going to make, 4 years of Bix Caleen, starting a union at the edge of space. But I like, to me, we mentioned the Luke scene where Luke in Mando 2, and I'm like, listen, we de-aged Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. Oh. We de-aged Luke in Mando and Book of Boba Fett. And listen, Harrison Ford, you did a whole movie of Indiana Jones where you were de-aged.
Yep.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it. I just want a true sequel to Return of the Jedi where it's like, okay, you can have Hera, you can have the whole Rebels crew, you can have Ahsoka, and you can have Luke, Han. Man, let's just do this, and that's what I would want. Like that's where I would go. And you tell me that isn't the highest grossing movie of all time.
Now, there's kind of rumors that Filoni's movie is like an Heir to the Empire movie, and we could have a lot of what you said in there. Ahsoka, Hera. There's rumors of Luke, Leia, Han. Like, what if we got that in Filoni's movie?
I'm cool with it. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm cool with it. I think that listen, Avengers Endgame. It took 14 more movies to get there. It just, I don't know if there's enough setup there to be like, the Millennium Falcon shows up and like Luke's in his X-Wing and you're like, well, here comes Carson Teva and he's got Zeb towing behind. Like, I just like.
No, that's fair.
I mean, I'm all for it. Like if you tell it right, I'm for anything. Like,
yeah, of course.
Even the Acolyte, which I'm not a fan of. Like I'm willing to give you a shot. Like my number one rule is you as a storyteller get to create the rules, and as long as you stay within them and are clever, I'm there for you. I agree with you. More episodes between 4 and 5. So you're saying between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, I would love that too. I love anything in the OT. Yeah,
I mean, like whatever they're like. I want to go back to Mandalore. Like, I want to go back to like Sabine and Ahsoka training, and what happens there, and then let's do that in animation. Where Dave Filoni, you're like, dude, you can spend $150 million on animation. We'll put the first episodes. You do 5 episodes. We put it in a movie theater, and then we do the at home. Like they need to get and like again, maybe they need to put Tony and Mike in above Dave and John, and we're gonna go in there and we're just gonna clean house. But again, it's always a fun question to ask.
Yeah.
And your answer is like, I don't know, but I want her out of the way and these guys to run the show.
Well, yeah, because like there's clearly been no consistency in the 13 years. And like if you're in charge, you should be held accountable for it. And she hasn't. So hopefully if she does retire or whatever, and we start to see change and everything starts to get consistent, then it was her fault the whole time.
I mean, I think I think it's her fault, but I think in general, it's the idea of just too many cooks in a kitchen. And it's why I think I like Andor is it's like, he's like, I'm doing what I'm doing. Like there's no way Andor gets made today. No way Andor season 2 gets made today. He locked that in. So, and I think it's not just a Disney and KK thing. It's everywhere. I just watched the show Citadel on Amazon, which came out 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They dumped $300 million into an espionage show. And I'm like, this is the nicest looking show I ever saw. The plot looks like AI, like ChatGPT 3 wrote it. It was just it was just so simple and bad. You're like, and they had Robert Madden, guy from Game of Thrones. But all right, well, now that we have a basis for what you like, why, and how you'd go forward, let's talk a little collectibles. We'll just start general with like what you collect for Star Wars, and then we'll roll that into Celebration and then into cards.
Bro, too much, anything and everything. So lately I've been besides the cards taking over. Before that, I like the random stuff. I like picking up because I go to a lot of conventions, a lot of toy shows. So I like picking up the random stuff, especially like the older stuff for like nostalgia purposes, or just because like it's cool and random. Like this random Pez dispenser Yoda that I found, and it plays music. It does different quotes. Like this is dope. I like random stuff like this. But I would say the collecting probably started in 2015 when I went to my first convention, and then I started getting into Funkos. And then after Funkos, I got into like in 2019, they re-released the Slave One, the Hasbro Slave One, the vintage scale. So I grabbed that, grabbed some Boba Fett to put in it, and I'm like, man, these TVC card backs are beautiful. Then I started going crazy with those. Then I found like the Black Series figures. I'm like, these are bigger and more detailed. So I got a bunch of those. Then I got into Hot Toys for a little bit, and I'm like, oh, these are bigger and even more detailed. But like those are just so expensive. I couldn't do it forever. So I kind of cleared out. Then started getting into like the helmets. I got a bunch of helmets back there. Helmets are cool. They just look cool on display. 2 ICCs ago, started getting to the vintage Kenner stuff. So like Jabba, like the first original 12, started grabbing those. Love those things. And then more recently, just got into cards. Now it's just like cards everywhere, man. It's crazy.
So I mean, I'll give you my I want to ask a question, then I'll get into like why I'm more of a card guy. But like, all right, the house is on fire, the dogs, the kids, the family, everything's out. What are you grabbing from your collection?
Oh,
what you can fit in your arms. That's it. What are you taking out with you?
So I have a ton of autographed plaques from meeting a bunch of celebrities. So I would grab all my plaques. Definitely this Hayden card, because Hayden signed this at GalaxyCon. So like this, I'm holding on to for dear life. Because when Hayden signed this, after he signed it, he looked up to me and told me he saw my YouTube channel, and I just froze. I'm like, the chosen one like saw my channel. It was crazy. So like this, if someone wants to buy it, $1 million, I'm never getting rid of this card ever. It was crazy. So this and all my you can kind of see them. These are all plaques right here.
Okay.
Yeah, those are all like the 3x7 metal plaques, all autographed. So I have like a memory with each one of them getting signed with that actor. Mark Hamill signed one, Hayden signed one, like a ton of people. So I would say my autograph plaques for the memories, because you could buy everything else. I can't buy that moment when I met Mark or Hayden or Ewan. You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean, I agree. I mean, I like that's why I asked the question, because it's like,
yeah,
that's kind of how I recommend people collect. Like, not the memories, but like things that are irreplaceable. If you can buy something tomorrow that is similar to that, let's see the Clone Wars animation figures 2008-ish were well done and very reasonable.
Nice.
Again, so I'll give you a quick explanation on me. It's like I have mostly cards. As a child, I have my original Star Wars somewhere. Like I have my land speeder that I used to play with in the bathtub as a kid. It's like, bro, I can never go up from there, right? Yeah. Like I have mine, and then I when I first got into cards and I saw toys, I was like, okay, I'm a psychopath, and cards, you can get 500 of them, and you can put them on your desk. 500 toys, and I'm done. So I was like, no, not doing it. Over the years, some of my friends have sent me a Funko or like, I'm like, I love these. I'm not allowing myself to buy them because not because, again, it gets back to like the Visions conversation, like totally respect it. Think it's an awesome thing to do. I would just be, I mean, I live by myself with my bulldog Albert, who you might be hear him snore, and I have a pretty large house, so it would be bad. It would be like unlimited storage for it. So I've stuck to cards, and it's do you want to do Celebration first, or you want to go to cards now? Because we've been talking a bit.
We could do either or. I have no preference.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let's do a little cards, and then we'll try to go into Celebration, because I think there's some people that might be anxious to talk about cards. But like, what you were saying earlier, what were the first cards you bought that you said?
So like in the late 90s, I used to collect Pokemon cards because like they were out. I used to get them, rip packs. It was great. I love that. And then in the earlier 90s, I had a bunch of X-Men cards, the 1990 X-Men cards. So I had a bunch of those. And then I remember there were Simpson cards back in the day. I used to have Simpson cards. So like, collecting cards was always in my DNA from a kid in the 90s growing up. And then like the whole 2000s, I had no idea that there were these Star Wars sets coming out over and over. Even in the 90s when 93 Galaxy first came out, and it's been every year since then, basically, or a couple. So I had no idea. And then even when I got into collecting in 2015, I didn't know there was like Star Wars cards. I probably would have started then. And then ICCC last year, seeing Sam's like, you know, the boxes full of them and grabbing this, I'm like, yo, this is cool. I'm like, what's a Throwback Thursday card? Like, what is this? And then he had a bunch of singles. I bought a huge stack of singles, and then I had all these really cool cards. And then I went down this rabbit hole of just looking into it. And then right after that, the Chrome came out in August 2024, Chrome with Ahsoka on the box. So I got a couple blaster boxes. I'm like, oh, these are cool. But what really got me was when 2024 Galaxy dropped that November, and I got a couple of those hobby boxes. And I learned the hard way how it's impossible to get any of these Star Wars cards anywhere. Tops.com, I got lucky and got one. I don't know how. GameStop sell out. They get one box, it's sold out, and then they're just gone. So I learned hard and quick that these Star Wars cards, the reason I didn't know about them, they don't sit anywhere. You can never find them.
I agree. It's so interesting to hear somebody who's come recently to Star Wars, because I'm only like, I act like I'm this wise old sage. I've been doing it for like 4 years. I collected them when I was a child, but I kind of got back into them 4 years ago. You know, a lot of story, pandemic, everybody but I had a puppy, Albert. He just decided one day to sit in front of A New Hope for like an hour. And he like every time Obi-Wan Kenobi was on the screen, he would be like, oh, I'm into it. I'm like, I'm going to get you an Obi-Wan Kenobi card. And 200,000 cards later, here we are. But it reminded me, I was watching some of your stuff last night, and I caught the end of a video you're doing, and you said there are 2 franchises you love the most. And one of them is Star Wars. Do you remember what the other one was?
Probably Back to the Future.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And on my desk, it's hard to see.
Oh, I think
I don't keep a lot of cards on my desk. So the reason I do is that my dog Albert, is actually named after Einie.
Nice.
So I have some Albert. There are, again, not to send you down this rabbit hole, but those are Back to the Future 2 cards. Panini made stickers in 1985 that are impossible to find.
Yeah.
They're Michael J. Fox. There's Doc Brown. I have a couple where it's actually a two thing, and the top is like Michael J. Fox, and on the bottom is Einstein.
Yeah.
So I have those, but again, I don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
So three or four of the cards I bought from Sam at ICCC were Back to the Future cards, and I think one of them is the same one you have on your desk.
I love that one. That's until I one of the few. Einstein's waving his paw. Like I'm man, I've been trying to maybe get into a PSA 10, but like so. This is, I can already tell that the way you collect and I collect are different. Again, it's the coffee and sushi thing, which is like you like the art, right? Like the galaxy.
Yes, galaxy. Specifically the Tracy Easterday, her Anakin cards in Galaxy are just amazing. And then I love the Darth Maul cards. And honestly, some of the sketches and the autos, the thrill of ripping a pack and pulling that case hit auto, one of those sketches, it's so much, it's addicting. It's so much fun. I don't gamble. I lived in Vegas 2 years and I never gambled. I'm not a gambler in that sense, but I'll gamble and buy a box and try to get that autograph.
What part of Vegas did you live in?
I lived in Vegas. I lived on East Lake Mead. I was 10 minutes from the Strip.
Okay, I lived in Vegas twice. That's why I said I live in the Southwest, that like out by Spanish Trails and out that direction.
Okay, yeah.
Down Trop West is I lived in 2 different spots for there for a while. But no, I'm the opposite. I am a gambler, and but I hate to rip boxes. It's really the opposite of so again, I watched your video of just going through those what you call it, the Attack of the Clones cards, and I'm like, you know what? it was like, to me, it's like, I see this enthusiasm. I need to own more prequel cards.
Yeah.
And I went out and I bought a box of 1999 Icon Phantom Menace cards. And I'm not sure if you know what they are, but like, again, you may or you may not.
Is it the wide vision or is it different?
No, it's regular cards because I can't stand wide vision.
I hate wide vision too. Yeah, I'm not a fan of wide vision.
They only made them in Australia, but it's
Wow.
the only place. But they're like, it's like Australian tops, not exactly, but similar.
Yeah,
they're great cards, and it's like, and they are also gold inserts, like gold foil and silver foil. So like, you want a Padme gold rookie. So if you ever want, I opened a box and I pulled a Padme gold, and I was like, holy.
What?
But again, as somebody, if you like the prequel trilogy, so you inspired me to buy a box, and it was $80, man.
That's
$80.
Steal. That's nothing.
Well, that's like, if I'm gonna open stuff, I'm gonna go, like, there are deals. The new stuff, it's like anything else. If you want the newest thing, you're gonna overpay for it.
I know, it's so annoying.
But again, I got caught up in the Chrome release. But after Chrome, I'm like, I just opened like a $200 box, and which I got was a deal, and I got like $20 worth of cards. I'm like,
yeah,
I'd rather just go the other direction. But so now, like, your Galaxy, have you been opening any of this other stuff? Like,
so High Tech was the next one. So my local spot had it. And it had it for 150 when everywhere online was 200. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try, and maybe it'll be something cool. So I ripped one box of High Tech. I pulled Rabe auto, one of Padme's handmaidens. I was like, all right, cool. At least I got an auto. But looking at the cards, I'm like, I don't really like these cards. So I haven't bought any more since then. Like, I'm not a fan. If I'm gonna buy it, I need to like somewhat like it. So I didn't buy any more High Tech. Galactic Antiquities was impossible for a regular person to get. And and even if I did, even if I would have got through on top site and paid the retail $1,500, I watched so many people open boxes where if I would open that box, I would have been pissed with some of the cards that were in there. Like, I don't want a Rose autograph. I don't want Garza Flip. I don't want Zori Bliss. I don't want to spend $1,500 for like potential autographs I'm not going to want. I'd rather spend that, meet them in person, and have them sign it myself for half the price.
I've done multiple videos on antiquities because I love the idea. I hate the execution.
Yep, 100%.
Is like, if it were like, I did a video before we knew the checklist and everything. I was like, listen, is like, I don't think this is going to work, but here's how it might. And three of the things I said is like, there's no on-card Hamill or Ford, which those are the biggest guys. Yeah. And it turns out there's no Hayden either. I know you're a big Hayden fan. Yeah. For me, the one that would have been huge was Diego Luna, because Diego Luna has never signed on card for anything. So now you're going, okay, well, now we're taking the biggest characters. If you have the biggest living characters on card, which you can't get elsewhere, it's like, okay. And if your worst card is a Keira Knightley or a Timothy Oliphant, you're like, oh, okay. But I do a lot with data because it's just how my brain works, and people are really getting hurt on those because even the best, like, I don't think a single card has sold for more than a box goes for on the secondary market. Meaning, like, no card is sold for more than $3,500.
Oh, yeah, no,
I mean, not that they're not worth it, but like, and then they fired off hyperspace after that.
Oh my god! So like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's a Pedro auto in there. There's a bunch of Harrison autos in there. And then I watched them open, and I'm like, I do not like these cards. I was like, I like that gunship card. That card's cool. But there's so many like stupid cards in there that, like, for me, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll keep some and I'll sell the rest on whatnot. Nobody's gonna want to buy that crap singles, so I didn't even bother with it, especially for the price.
That should have been $50 or $80. Like, I don't want to hit the Boomba 101. Like, it's just not. It's just, I'm not like, again, it's just like, it's not that there's not a place for it. It's that they're slaughtering the sheep. They're not shearing them. And just announced Chrome Black is coming out. I thought we were done. it's like, nope, Chrome White's coming out.
Really? What for this year? Like a new one?
I mean, it's from 2024. It's like one encased card, one parallel, and 4 cards per box, $150 a box. But you get one auto. I don't know. I think my opinion is that, listen, we're getting too many autos, and most of them are sticker. It's hard for it to retain value. You know, like, I mean, if that's why you're doing it, it's tough. If you want the memories, then you can go in person, right? Like,
like this. I went to a small show. Emily Swallow signed this, and that conversation, priceless.
I heard you talk about Emily Swallow, and I mentioned it before because like you said, she was a really nice person. I remember the comment because you talked about going to Celebration Japan.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to go. I'll pay my own way.
Yeah, they have it yeah.
But that's what you want to hear, right? Like when I was, the Diego card that I want to get, which is very personal to me. Like I was a Cassian Andor collector before Andor came out.
Yeah.
So like I loved Rogue One, and it would be a card that nobody would have because nobody knows that this exists. But then when I heard the price and all stuff, I was like, you know what? I'll just wait because in a couple of years, there'll be a time where I'll be able to go get this card signed myself.
You want that moment. Yeah, that'll be so priceless.
It matters. The point of it is not an investment piece. It's like I am a true fan of a lot of this stuff. I've grown up. You said you lived in Vegas. I grew up in Atlantic City. I lived in Vegas. I've lived in LA, and I just have a different experience being around celebrities at a young age. Where I learned I didn't get autographs because I was in spots sometimes where I wasn't able to, and I just enjoyed their company. It's a different thing. It's not a meet and greet. I really collected. Wait, hold on. Somebody's asking a question about a specific card here. I don't know. Upgraded in 1977. You don't know. You don't own any vintage, do you?
No, I had some 83 Return of the Jedi cards, some singles, but nothing 77. No.
Okay, I guess that was for me. The answer is no. No, I'm not. I had a big vintage collection. Like, listen, at some point I'll find your address. You cannot exist as a Star Wars collector and not own a Luke Skywalker rookie. Like, we just can't let that happen. Like, I have some that are run over by a truck. Like, just have one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just you have to own one. I mean, that's me. I grew up like more of a kid of the 80s collecting where it was like rookie cards and like Pokemon. I think it was more of like what the card looked like and like you enjoyed it. I grew up of like you want the first card. And so I have set out to own the rookie card. Like we have a list of like the 66 greatest Star Wars rookie cards.
You have all of them?
Yeah, I think.
Nice.
I mean, I got in like somewhat before Star Wars cards went crazy, but I own a lot. The crown jewel of my collection is I own a PSA 10 Han Solo rookie, 77. So there's 11 in the world. It's a monster. That's the crown jewel value wise. Actually, the crown jewel of my actual collection. You talk about things you won't like if the house is on fire. I own 2 Cassian rookies that are gold out of 50. There's only a 1-on-1. But there's a story. I'll give you the brief story, which is why I got into card collecting is a dog who passed away. His name was Russell. And I got my Cassian rookie, and I realized that it was number 12. He was born in December. Sent it in to get graded. It's an 8. He was born on the 8th of December.
Wow.
So I have a 12. There are only 3 of these graded, by the way, only 3 in the world. And 6 months ago, I find somebody bought another one of these, and it turns out it's a friend of mine. And I look in the back of it; it says 24, and I'm like, I have to have it. I buy it at 9. My dog, who's sleeping underneath me, was born on September 24th.
Wow!
So 2 dogs' birthday who mean more than anything. So I would not take. Like I always mess with people and be like, you can't buy these cards. You can't because there are 3 that I know to exist, and the other one I know where it is. I know who owns it. Like, you can't buy them. But I would love, sometimes I think we did this with the Ahsoka foil rookie, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but the 2008 number.
Yeah.
I had one of those. high grade. We used to just stick it on eBay for like 25,000, just to be like,
just a flex.
It's just pure flex. It was like, but eventually somebody bought it. We sold it, but like, yeah, I don't know how I got there. Sorry to make it about me, but I meant somebody brought up 77, but we need to get you a Luke Skywalker rookie. We'll see if we can figure out a way to maybe get you the whole, we call it the Council of Dorks set. A bunch of us got together. We voted. We're like, okay. They're like, no, Mace Windu doesn't belong in here. And I'm like, they vote no Poe Dameron, no BB-8. I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah, so you don't really go back, right? Like you kind of like if you go back, it's Galaxy.
So I've been going back. I did get a box of 93 Galaxy and ripped it for myself, and I completed it. Sam sent me the 94 set, so I have that, which is cool. But lately on Whatnot, I've been just doing those older packs because it's fun and it's cheaper than buying like a $26 pack of this or Sapphire for 28, and you get 4 cards that you probably don't like. So I've been having fun living in the past. I just ordered a box of 95 Galaxy for Whatnot, and I don't even know what they look like, but I can't wait till people buy them. That way I could get to see them with them for the first time, which is fun. And even this morning, we ripped a box of Revenge of the Sith movie cards. Nice. And we pulled I didn't know these had sketches. We pulled a Yoda sketch, which looked really, really cool. And the kid that won it was so excited. And I just shipped it out to him a little bit after that. But I like opening a box of stuff that I don't know what's in there. That way I get to experience it. And then if I like it, I'll get more. Some for me, maybe some for Whatnot. So it's fun doing the random stuff living in the past. Because like you said, like I'm seeing this for the first time. Everything's new to me. This is fun.
I mean, I love it. That's why I love the enthusiasm. I think that's what drew me to you. What made you reach out. And I like, again, if anybody's watching this who doesn't watch my channel, normally they watch yours, is like, go backwards. If you like Star Wars cards, just go backward. Like you can go buy for $150-ish. I'm not saying you should spend it. You could buy a Mando Season 1 hobby box where you could pull a very rare Mando card, or like there are ways to go back in time. Like, again, if you're like, hey, I want to pull a Hamill or a Fisher auto, they're like Force Awakens sets. I don't like the Force Awakens, but like, would you rather spend $80 to try to have better odds of getting a Hamill rookie like auto?
So I tried to pull. I bought 3 boxes of, I think it's 2023 Sapphire, the Return of the Jedi Sapphire, that has Carey autos, Mark autos, Peter Mayhew autos. I got them like on sale. They were like $99 a box. I'm like, all right, let's get 3. Maybe I'll get lucky, because I looked on eBay and I didn't see a lot of the autos in the wild, so they're still in packs. Got nothing, but man, I would kill for Peter Mayhew autograph, Carrie Fisher autograph. It'd be amazing, man.
Look at not Clone Wars. Topps Chrome Force Awakens Season 1. Sometimes you get them $80, and it's not. There's not an auto in every box, but there's a hit in every box. Like I bought one. Is that what somebody sent me one as a gift? It was a friend of mine, and I hit a Stormtrooper relic. But it was like
150 ship. That's not bad for a box.
Yeah, just another thing I preach is patience. Just watch it. Want to show up for $80? Like there's so many things you can buy like that. There's like another thing is like you just want to buy Mando Season 2 blaster boxes, right? They're $20. They're cheaper than blaster boxes now. But there are Rosario Dawson autos in there, I believe. There is. They might be redemptions, but just big cards that, again, like there's an Ahsoka 101 live action Rosario Dawson rookie. Like there's just a chase where you get the juices flowing.
You
don't spend $1 million. I mean, you can go back and buy a box of Return of the Jedi for like 83 for like.
Oh, you know what I want? The freaking 3PO error card. That card is so funny.
The goldenrod. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even own any of them. That's like people
love have a goldenrod.
I just like there's some again. I'm such a weirdo. I'm like the guy who like feels like I need to like zig when other people zag. Need to podcast. I have cards for gift for your channel. I'm sorry. I'm like Kellogg's incredible. Jedi J. I'm not sure which one else you're talking about, but I know either of us appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Heck was I saying?
Goldenrod.
Goldenrod. Yeah. I just like when I got into it, I just bought. I thought 4 years ago, I thought that I understood how PSA graded. I was just buying sets. So I might have a raw goldenrod somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But I thought like I thought PSA is like a 7 is a 7 out of 10. It's like no, the difference, like the difference between like a 9 and a 10 is not 10 points on your test. It's like a 99 and 100, and you're like, oh no, I sent all these cards to get graded, and I was like, oh, I think these are gonna be 9s. They came back 6, and but but a return again, just offering things that if you want to open, there's another cool thing that the one you open, the Revenge of the Sith one, you can get Revenge of the Sith hobby for around $80-100 sometimes. And there's also that motion card. Did you pull any of those?
Yes, the I forgot what it's called, but the lenticular. Yeah, it was Hayden turning into Vader. So cool.
Yeah, I bought that right after the World Between Worlds, and I was like, "This is it. This is the World Between Worlds." And
it's funny. Tomorrow, I literally have a box of Attack of the Clones 2002 coming in, and like I think the box that I think every pack comes with a foil card, so that's going to be real fun to rip.
That might be the UK.
Yeah, that's the one because it's like 8 cards per pack instead of the 7. So I think that's the one that I got, the UK one.
The foils are awesome. The foils are awesome. They're all the big characters, and it really is Hayden's first card. Like to me, it's if you told me what Hayden rookie card I would want, it's probably that one. It's the nicest. Looking. There are a couple, but those are fun. They're not $1 million, right? Like
they're not cheap.
What's your experience like been on Whatnot? I had that at
Oh God, it's crazy because like I originally did Whatnot just because I had so many doubles. Like out of all the Galaxy boxes I ripped, out of the Chrome blaster boxes, like I keep one, and I don't need 1 million of them. So I'm sitting on like 400 or 500 extra cards. So I started going on there and just selling dollar singles, and people were buying them up like crazy. And I just kept doing it. And then I would just continue to buy more packs off my buddy on Whatnot and Drip, like more Galaxy packs. And if I got anything cool that I wanted, I would keep it. And the rest, I would just throw it on Whatnot and kind of like even out. And it's a vicious cycle that's been working for a month and a half where I'm clearing out. I'm still buying more. And what I don't want from the new stuff, throwing it on there, and I'm either evening out or coming up a little extra, which is nice. But like everything I do on there is like good prices. I see some people's streams and I'm like, bro, that is way too much for that single. That is way too much for that pack. Are you kidding me? Like, come on, you're not gonna become a millionaire overcharging on a dollar card. Like what?
I mean, I did it a little bit. Like I did it towards the end of last year. I did a couple streams and I made some mystery packs. I made cool art with like Ahsoka on it. You can rip it, and I would put slabs and stuff in there. And I just found it like, if you started at $1, my thing is like the education. It's like where you and I are talking about. I've learned a lot about Star Wars cards. I'll be like, hey, this card is important because It's so much easier when it's like, here, it's $1. Do you like it? You can worry about it later. But it's been my experience. So I ended up, a lot of people are like, hey, I have a bunch of empty wax boxes on my desk of like Back to the Future, whatever it may be, Indiana Jones, a lot of stuff that I think Sam sent you. But like, Star Wars, I have all this, and then people are like, do you have any of that? Can I open? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, but I started buying stuff, and people will be like, oh, okay, can I open a pack of this? Can I open a pack of that? I'm like, what about all these? Like, I have the cards right here. Don't you want to just buy the cards? Like, no, no, I want to open the packs. But I mean, I think Whatnot is a lot of fun if you approach it like you're approaching it. Like, hey, this is a nice way to sell a few cards and do some content versus trying to slaughter the sheep as they.
Yeah, and I think I have a little bit of an advantage having my channel and my Instagram because like I have a decent following on both. And every time I go live, I post it everywhere. So that brings people in. So that definitely helps. But it's just fun just hanging out, selling cards. One thing I love doing, I've done it a couple of times, is when I'm packing up their orders, I'll throw in like, here's an extra pack. I'll just throw it in there or throw a couple extra cards. That way when they get it, like, oh my God, like it's just fun. It's just returning the favor, good karma. Like Sam sent me a bunch of stuff from that video. Half the stuff I gave away on Whatnot. Like that one full set of, I forgot what it's called, gave it away on Whatnot. That Attack of the Clones set, gave away the whole set on Whatnot as a giveaway.
I mean, that's like you and I come from the same place. I've been selling on eBay for a long time. Like I always, not only do I give cards away when I do an order, I try to think, if you bought this card, what else would
this?
You like?
Yeah.
Like I could just grab from a pile and be like, oh, here's cards.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you bought an Indiana Jones card. I'm like, okay, I'll get it. You bought from the whatever, this one, I'll throw you something in from the other movie. And then, oh, you're a child from that time. And you probably might like E.T. Or you might like Goonies, something like that. And to me, it's just like, I just am trying to spread the joy that I get from it. And like, that is the number one thing I get. And it's a little bit of what you're saying too with non-sports cards is I didn't know that existed. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so taking a step back with the cards, what do you have a card that like, this is the card I really want to get, a Grail card? Or
so, I mean, as far as Grail cards, I would say anything with like Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew's autograph, anyone that passed away, it would be that. But for me, I make my Grail cards. Like this Hayden card is a Grail card, and I'm gonna be meeting Hayden again in Japan, and I'm having him sign another card, and like that's gonna be another Grail card. And then I got a stack of cards that I'm meeting a bunch of these actors at different shows. And that's something I'm just gonna do now, is like when I go to these conventions, I used to get all these plaques signed. I'm just gonna get cards signed because then they look great. I send them to PSA, and like they're not getting graded; they just get the authenticated in the slab, nice and pretty and safe. So honestly, I'd rather make my own card by getting an autograph and adding that experience than buying it. I mean, sure, I'd love to have a 101 crazy auto, or what it is, and somebody pulled it. That booklet in. I think it's in hyperspace. You saw the booklet with the 7 OT actors autographs on it.
I mean, I think it's from Antiquities. They.
Oh no, Antiquities. Yeah. You're right. That booklet in Antiquities with the 7 of the original cast. That is like.
I like the idea of it. I have an issue with the Carrie Fisher stuff.
Yeah, what is it?
She's been dead for 9 years, or I don't. I that's it. It's nothing more than like. I don't like that they have in a vault just these autographs that they can turn into a character. Like I'd rather I'm not an autograph guy, but if I was gonna have a Carrie Fisher, I'd want it on card. I want something she was alive and knew she was signed, and that, or like again, we get outside of it. Like give me a poster signed by them all. Like my Grail card is that Cassian 101.
Yeah,
it'll probably never come up. But like, yeah, I mean, it's easy to be like, hey, if there's a superfractor auto, like that's just
yeah.
It's like, okay, I got to take a PSA 10 Luke, rookie. It's like, sure, it's $100,000 card, but like, that's not me. It sounds to me like, is Hayden your guy? Is that your number one?
It's between Hayden and Mark. I probably lean a little bit more towards Hayden now, since he knows who I am as a person. That's kind of crazy. So that kind of gives it an advantage. But it was always it was Mark first, because growing up, Luke, and then Hayden with the prequels. So it's between those two.
That's fair. I mean, I was always, I think somehow Han Solo has been lost in all this. I don't understand. Yeah, it's like, again, when you were a kid, it's like, who did you want to be? And to me, it's like, I want to be Han Solo, like that. But again, it changes. For me, I don't know why. Again, it's the zig and the zag with Diego Luna, where I was like, I liked Rogue One, then I saw Narcos, and I was like,
he killed it in Narcos, bro. So good.
Oh my! Again, there's like stuff in the news now where like these guys are still alive, and I'm like, wait a minute, all these guys are still. They just they just extradited Rafa. Again, I can't even get into it. If you haven't seen Narcos and you like The Godfather, it's like the modern Godfather, but kind of somewhat based on reality. So Diego was a monster. He was like Michael Corleone in that, and then he comes and he rips it in Andor, and I was like, all right, this is my guy.
Yeah.
And the other part is like, I know. Oh, you know what? So. It's like infamously over the years, I have one auto of Diego Luna, and I got to get it on the camera. It's so hard to see.
Oh, on a you saw him at the airport?
No, I bought this off of eBay.
Oh, okay.
This is his ticket, first class on British Airways from the Isle of Man. I have no idea. This is who still uses, paper tickets. I'm like, to me, it's like it says Mr. Diego Luna on it. Like, I have no idea. I bought it for 55 pounds a few years ago, and I'm like, that's it. I'm like, that's perfect. Like, I don't need. Like, I want my card, but like, I don't know. You brought up like that Pez dispenser. It's like that type of thing where I'm like, there's a story here. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, but he doesn't sign, and there's something about guys who don't sign. That like
he does now.
He does now. But
he did SpaceCon in Texas last year. My buddy met him, and then he's at Celebration. Only one day though for doing autos and photos.
Perfect time to go into Celebration. So this is how new I am to Star Wars and like just like super fandom, right? Like I don't know how we all want to be called, but like I think there's a Star Wars fan spectrum. Meaning, like, I have friends that are Star Wars fans, and then they look at me when I start talking, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I talk to people who would be like, you know nothing, Jon Snow. They're like, you're talking, you act like you know, and you're like, you've got all your facts. But
we're the sweaties, and they're the normies.
Yeah, and I'm definitely closer to the sweaty than the normie, but like, you always, there's always somebody who knows more than you. Like that's but so I didn't even know Celebration was a thing, okay, until London. And I was like, and I'm watching it on TV, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're just like this party where it's just all Star Wars fans, and they're just gonna talk about Star Wars for days. I'm like, this is awesome. So tell me about your experience with Celebration, because you've been to a few. Let's
go. This is my specialty. Right. So, and that's why I started my YouTube channel was 2 years ago. I started it right at Anaheim Celebration. So I found Celebration 2017 by accident. I had no idea what it was. I was living in Orlando. I drove by the convention center and I saw banners that said Star Wars Celebration.
Where did you live in Orlando?
I lived all over Orlando. I used to live next to the Millennium Mall. I used to live
Bro, we've been like shadowing together. I lived in Hunters Creek for like 4 years.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I lived in Orlando 2 different times in my life, both times for a couple years. So yeah, no, I love Orlando. Orlando's basically home. But I was driving down iDrive International and by the Orange County Convention Center, and I saw banners, and I'm like, what the hell is Celebration? And then I looked up online and I saw 2016 was in London, 2025 was in Anaheim. And I'm like, oh, I vaguely remember seeing like, figures released there, and they did Rogue One in London 2016. So me and my buddy Ricky, we bought 2 single-day tickets for Thursday and Friday, and we went. And we had the time of our life. We didn't know how anything worked. We didn't know about photos, autos, panels. We just went, saw tons of cool cosplay. Everybody was a huge Star Wars fan. Everybody was happy. It was just such a unique vibe and energy. So after those 2 days, we were home and we were like, damn it, I wish I was back there. Why didn't we do Saturday, Sunday? So then the next week, they announced the next Celebration 2019 Chicago. We bought badges right away. And Chicago was 5 days. So we did the 5 full days. We kind of knew how things work. We got into some panels. Chicago was amazing because we got into the Mando panel. So we got to watch with John, Dave, Gina, Grief Karga. We got to watch the first 7 minutes of Mando episode 1 4 months before it came out. and we didn't know what to expect, and that was amazing. Seeing that intro, I could bring you in warm, I could bring you in cold, months before it came out. That was one panel we went into. Another panel we got into was the 20-year anniversary of Fandom Menace, and you had Hayden on stage, you had Ray Park on stage, not Hayden, you had Ray Park, you had Ian McDermott, you had Anthony Daniels, you had Ahmed Best. So it was so cool hearing those guys' stories. And then we got I didn't get into the Rise of Skywalker panel, but my buddy did. And back then, like, we didn't know what it was called, right? So, like, watching that trailer for me, I was by the stage, 2,000 people crowding the stage so we could see the trailer, see the title. And that was such an amazing experience because all the trailers for the sequels were amazing. The trailers were crazy, better than the movies. And seeing that trailer, hearing Palpatine laugh at the end, seeing the name Rise of Skywalker for the first time, everybody just cheered. The energy was through the roof. So that was just nuts.
Wait, I want to interject for a second. Give you the beginning of Mando, like in my exploration of Mando cards, I like character cards, but I saw the very first Mando card is this opening shot, and it says "Enter the Hunter," and I just absolutely love that card. So that's from that.
Yeah.
Scene. So man, it takes me to that place. I'm like, I want to, kind of live in that moment where you get to get there again. But again, so that was 2019, right?
2019.
And then
other two more quick things. They did Clone Wars season 7 trailer revealed there, which was crazy seeing the trailer with Darth Maul and Ahsoka. And then Fallen Order got revealed. So Fallen Order, we got the trailer for Cal Kestis, the first game, and that was an amazing trailer. So Chicago was so special, witnessing all those amazing things from animation to live action shows to the movies to the video games. So then 2022 Anaheim Celebration was the next one. Of course, we went. We got VIP badges this time, which was nuts. And I decided I wanted to record everything because there's a lot of people like you that don't know what Celebration is. They've never been. So that my very first video on my channel is day one vlog at Anaheim Celebration. So I just recorded everything and showed everybody the entire thing. And Anaheim was also the first time I ever did photo ops, right? So excuse me, I did 4 photo ops, one every day. I selfishly did it because I wanted to put a photo op on the thumbnail for every video each day because I'm like, hey, that'll look great for the channel, brand new channel. So I met Giancarlo Esposito because I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. So like Gustavo Fring, like I gotta meet you.
You gotta get yourself some Breaking Bad cards.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
That's another dangerous rabbit hole. There's a lot of nice ones. I've seen those too. So I met Giancarlo. I met Sam Witwer, Darth Maul, like Star Killer. Come on, he's awesome. Then I did a dual photo op with Daniel Logan and Tamora Morrison, Boba Fett, Jango Fett. That was so cool. Their energy and vibe when I walked up to them, it was like just 3 best friends. It was great. And then Ewan McGregor did photos and autos, his first convention ever. So I had to snag a photo with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it was unreal just walking up. And it's like, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. So Anaheim was a blast. Since we had VIP, we got into all the panels. The first panel, I literally almost cried 3 times in the panel. So the very first panel was the Lucasfilm Showcase panel. And it starts off, we were sitting waiting for it to start. The lights turn black, and then all of a sudden there's a choir on the stage, and they start singing Duel of the Fates, which is probably my favorite Star Wars track. So I'm hearing Duel of the Fates live, and I'm like, this is awesome. And then Hayden walks out one side of the stage, Ewan walks out the other, and they invite us to come back tonight for the world premiere red carpet of Kenobi. So we got to watch the first 2 episodes with the entire cast that night in that room, which was nuts. Like, it was crazy. And then later on in that panel, they there was the stage lifted up, turned around, and it was John Williams with his orchestra. And John Williams, yes, he did the Imperial March, he did Indiana Jones, he started doing a bunch of songs, and I was almost tearing up because, no joke, 2 weeks before Celebration, I was looking up John Williams. You know, I wanted to see him live. That's kind of like bucket list to see that legend. He's done everything I've grown up on song, but like they were all in Germany and overseas and expensive. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get to see him. And then he pops up on stage at Celebration, and like I was like, oh my god, this is unreal. And then halfway through the Imperial March, Harrison Ford just walks out on stage to say, hey, happy birthday, because it was John Williams' birthday. And I'm like, bro, Han Solo is right there in front of me. It was just such a crazy experience, that panel. And then we got like other trailers and this and that, but like having
that sounds like, you know, one of those infomercials on TV where you're like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Wait, dude, there's more.
My heart couldn't handle it. I'm like, this is too much. John Williams, Harrison, Hayden, and Hewan. Like it was surreal experiencing that. And then there was other cool stuff there. But I mean, a Celebration's a blast. 2022. Then the next one, London 2023. Right away, same thing. Me and my boy Ricky booked the 4 days, booked the trip. We were gone. London was great. It was fun. We got to see the Ahsoka trailer before everybody else. So we got that shot of Thrawn, like seeing Thrawn for the first time. And actually, they did it kind of crazy. They didn't show Thrawn's face until the second day when we got a different trailer. But the first day, they showed us the trailer where you see the back of his head, right? And then the guy on stage was interviewing Filoni. He was like, hey, who's playing Grand Admiral Thrawn? And Dave was like, do you want to see? And they brought out Lars Mikkelsen on stage, and everybody went nuts, like, because we kind of knew it was going to be him. But seeing him come out and he's right there, I'm like, yo. And then, like, you know, Ray Stevenson was there on stage. It was great seeing him before he passed. So London was special. Same thing. Amazing panels. So many cool cosplays, displays. Now, I wasn't into cards then, but Topps was there. And I remember seeing the Topps booth, but it didn't click in my head that, oh, maybe there's special Star Wars cards. I had no idea. And then now I'm booked for Japan. So I literally fly to Japan in 38 days, about a month.
That is such a dedication. Again, I'm old, right? Like I feel like I'm old now, where it's like I've had friends and girlfriends in the past where I used to talk about the button. I was like, if you give me the button where I can press the button and I would be inside, I'm like, I'm all in. But I got to get on a plane for 20 hours. Man, that is dedication. Like London's one. Japan is like it's the other side of the earth. Like you're literally going to the other side of the earth.
I know. I've always wanted to go to Japan, but I never wanted to do that flight. I'm like 18 hours. I'm good. But now, like, Celebration's there. 20-year anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, my favorite movie. And it's Japan. It's kind of like, okay, it's 2 for 1. I get to go there, see a bunch of cool Nintendo stuff, and then the Revenge panel. I have to make it work. So, of course, I'm there.
Oh, I respect it. Like, I just meant, like, I'm just late. Like, I wish I had your youthful enthusiasm. I know you. It's like, no, you get older, because I'm like that. It seems like a ton of fun. Like if I could pick any of the locations, I would want to go to Japan. Like somehow, like I almost feel like George will show up and
I don't think Japan. I'll bet money right now because 2025 is this year's Celebration. I don't know if they're gonna do one in 2026. There's a chance because of the movies coming out. But 2027, they have to. It's 50-year anniversary of Star Wars, right? So if George were to pull up, and he did it in Orlando in 2017, 2017 was 40 years of Star Wars. George, Harrison, and Mark were on stage. And I missed that panel because I didn't know how panels worked. But I have a feeling 2027 going to come back to Orlando, and I have a feeling Mark, George, and Harrison are going to come back on stage.
Is that announced that it's definitely going to be in Orlando?
So they're going to announce it the last day of Japan Celebration. They announce when and where the next one is. So we'll know if it's 2026 or if it's 2027. But they can't miss 2027. It's like mandatory 50 years. They try to do celebrations on anniversaries of their movies. So like you can't miss it on the biggest one, the one that started it all.
Well, I'm sure it was more of the Orlando part of it. I'm sure they'll do a celebration. Listen, 2027 is going to be a year of Star Wars anniversaries. Like this is the biggest movie it's the biggest movie ever. Like, so it may not be the best movie ever, but it's the biggest movie ever. like in what it introduced to the world, how it just changed entertainment forever. Like again, look behind you. It's like nobody ever made those type of things for movies before. They made trinkets here and there, but not on the scale that they did for Star Wars. Now, in my head, selfishly, I'm like, if it's in Orlando and it's the 50th, all right, I might go.
No, you have to. Like, the reason I say Orlando is they just did Anaheim. The reason I'm saying Orlando, they're selfish and they want money, so they could do it where 50 years celebrate at the park because Disney's right there. They're going to do a bunch of anniversary stuff and then 50 years of celebration. So it's kind of Orlando's turn because they just did Anaheim.
No, I live in New Jersey and I live in southern New Jersey. So there's an airport here. I can be in Orlando in 2 hours.
Yep.
And like it's the closest thing to that button we were talking about. Like it'll probably take you more time to get on your plane to Japan than it will for me to make it down. I used to actually, when I lived in Orlando, I would actually commute from where I live now back and forth. I had an office here, an office there, back and forth. So I used to do it all the time, and so some friends down there. But yeah, that would be awesome. I watched your video of like you did it, Tony did a video, Sith did a video on like, how to prepare for Celebration. And I'm like I'm watching a video for something I don't want to say never going to, just talking about I'm definitely not going to the Japan one. And I'm just like, you bring your tube for your and your folder for your drawing, for your art and all
posters, art.
Yeah, like you've got it down pat. Like you're like it's like you're a veteran at this point.
Because like I've been doing conventions since 2015 or celebrations since 2017, and like I've learned every single one. Like, oh man, I wish I had this. I wish I had a water bottle. Instead of spending so much money on drinks and stuff, you bring your water bottle, like little things like that. So I've learned from doing everything the wrong way. That way people could watch that and for their first celebration do everything the right way, and it's a lot easier,
Yeah, I've seen several things for like the National Card Convention where people are like, hey, like, it's going to be tough to get. Card Vibe said he lives in Orlando. There you go.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Again, 2 Orlando vets here. We just know that you want to stay off the 528. You want to stay off.
Between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Don't go on I-4, 408, nothing, bro.
Wait, 408? What am I thinking of? The 5?
No, there's a 528 over there too. That's another one of the highways. Yeah.
Again, you loop around that city. You have to know your way.
Yep.
Your way through it, or you'll get yourself in trouble. But yeah, I mean, what are you most excited about for Celebration Japan? Is there like a panel, or is there something that meeting Hayden again? Or
so meeting Hayden again, that's always fun because weirdly it feels like the first time every time. But now, like, I kind of want to ask him, what did you see on my channel? Because like when he told me that GalaxyCon,
don't ask. Don't ask.
Because he was like at the photo op, he was like, man. So like at the autograph, he told me he saw my channel. I did a photo op later that day, and he was like, man, you got a pretty popular channel, man. Good for you. And I was like, what? I froze again because I didn't expect that. So seeing Hayden's always fun, but Doug Chang is doing photos and autos for the first time. So I'm meeting him, and
who's Doug Chang?
Doug Chang, the creative director that's been there since you know who he is, right?
No, I have no idea. Like this is like my point is like this is the thing where it's like where I'm like I have blind spots. You're like, you don't know who Doug Chang is?
So he's been working with George since Phantom Menace. He is heavily inspired by Ralph McQuarrie's work on the OT. So he's basically the Ralph McQuarrie from the prequels and on. So he did all the concept work for Phantom Menace. He designed like the battle droid, Darth Maul's ship. He did like everything in the prequels, and he's still there to this day doing work. He helped with Mando. He just helped on Skeleton Crew most recently, but he was working hand in hand with George forever. And he's basically the new Ralph McQuarrie because he was very inspired from him. So that's why I'm excited to talk to him, is just to hear stories about him and George and his inspirations from Ralph. It's just cool, man.
I get it. And again, I never look at it as like if I don't know something, it's like I don't ever be like, well, they're not important because I don't know them. It's more like I'm an idiot. Like I'm just there's sometimes where I'm like I didn't know Kathleen Kennedy was 3 years ago. Like, I had no idea who it
Yeah, nobody did until she started making everybody mad. Then you're like, who is this lady that's everywhere? Oh, okay, that's what she is. Yeah.
So, but the reason I said about Hayden was like somebody had mentioned before, they were just talking about how amazing it must have felt when he talked about your channel. And I'm like, man, you risk him going, yeah, I don't remember your channel. Like, like it's just
like me and him have more history though, because before he said that about my channel, 2 cons before that, he recognized me from doing a couple photo ops with them, which was crazy. It was in Chicago at Fan Expo in August. And when I got an autograph there, he was like, we've met a few times before, right? And like that blew my mind that he remembered me. And what was crazy, the next week he was at Tampa Bay Comic-Con, which I was going to, and I went and I met him again and I got another autograph. And the whole time he's like just talking to me like we're friends. He's like, so where do you call home? Where are you from? What's your name? Like we were just going back and forth having a convo. Like it was crazy.
Again, that's all. I was just more looking out for you. That was where I was going of like trying to like again, I've had some moments with people where I'm like, I just like even the other thing where they say don't meet your heroes, where it's like I've met some of my heroes and been like, oh, not nice person.
Knock on wood. Everybody I've met, I've had a good experience because like I've met Marty McFly twice, Doc Brown twice, and like bro, I grew up on Back to the Future. I love that so much. So meeting them was crazy, man. I mean, with Marty, it was quick and brief because like it is what it is. It was just cool. With Doc Brown though, like man, I got to talk to him for a little bit. It was great, man. It was amazing. So knock on wood, I've had no bad experiences yet.
I mean, again, that's awesome. I have the Doc Brown rookie card that I've been sitting on for that nice. I want to get it graded so badly. They're so impossible to find. There's a story between like why the dog got named Einstein, and it was like I was working on this real serious project, and it was like he was Einstein and I was Doc Brown. So like we had, I think it's a little self-aggrandizing there, but I've never done any. I've been fortunate enough, again, living in weird places. Like you live in Orlando, you live in Vegas. Like like I remember being in Orlando. It's like you go to the Millennium Mall. I'm like, oh, Shaq's at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Random stuff. You're in Vegas. It's like I'm walking to my car and like Chris Rock's coming in. You're like, it's just stuff. Weird stuff happens, and you get. But like I've never run into anybody from the Star Wars universe. Not a single. I can't think of a single.
Yeah.
I have a story about everybody, but yeah, if Diego comes to that's the weirdest part. I'm just gonna be like, let's talk about Miguel and Felix and Gallardo. That's I'm gonna just like go down the Narcos rabbit hole. But all right, so I want to loop back to something else before we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I can go forever because like this is my favorite thing to talk about in the world. But like, I want to talk a little I want you to put your hat back on where you were the Star Wars czar, where you're going to replace Kathleen, because I want to talk about if there are places in the Star Wars universe that you wish they would explore that they haven't, and that are because you threw a name out there at one point that to me is Crimson Dawn and Enfys Nest. That's just like a place for me where it's like it seems like the end of Solo story seems to be like the departing place for 100 series. Like we could just go anywhere from there. So again, put your hat on.
So funny story with Solo in particular, and the mall stuff. I was watching Solo. That was what 2018 in theaters when that came out, and at that point, I had never seen nothing Clone Wars and Rebels. Right, I'd never seen none of the animated stuff. It's just a movie guy, and I'm watching it, and I see Darth Maul is alive, and I'm like, he got cut in half in Phantom Menace. How? So then I Googled it. I found out Clone Wars Rebels. Back then it was on Netflix. I binged all of it, fell in love with it. But like, if we would have got more of Darth Maul training with Kira on Dathomir, that'd be amazing. Or selfishly, I think they did it in comics. I would love to see Maul and Vader go at it, because at the end in Rebels, when Maul was in whatever that place was called with the Sith temple, I forgot what it was called, but when Vader showed up, Maul was terrified of Vader and was like, and just dipped on them and left. I want to know why Maul was so scared of Vader, and I would love to see like whether it's live action, animated, Maul and Vader going at it, because they're not going to kill each other, but Vader's going to mess him up.
I think the more dynamic you want it to be, the more it needs to be animation. Like that. Like, that was like one of my things about the Ahsoka series was that when I watched Rosario, I was like, this is not Ahsoka, my Ahsoka, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's not really fair because I'm like, who could have played that acrobatic Ahsoka who can wield lightsabers like this? It's like animation doesn't necessarily translate, but that would be awesome. But to me, it would have to be animation.
Yeah. Like, what's your favorite version of Ahsoka?
Rebels Ahsoka.
Yo, me too. Me too. And I haven't met Ashley yet, but I want to ask her, what was your favorite time playing Ahsoka? Because mine is Rebels. Rebels, she's like badass, killing Inquisitors, like finally faces Anakin again.
Powers, right? Peak of her powers.
Yeah, peak Ahsoka. Yeah, Rebels Ahsoka is my favorite too.
Who ever went toe to toe with Vader like that? Like
right?
Nobody. Like no, like that's why like still like again I'm gonna talk about the world between worlds in a minute because I have there's some issues with that, but like for me like so I have this theory about Star Wars that in general it's really hard to take the stuff that has a lot of baggage and build on it. It's like Obi-Wan had a lot of baggage coming into it. I think there are tons of problems with the way they produced it and whatever, but their expectations. Mando, when you come into it, you're like, okay, I don't know. He looks like Boba Fett. He's a bounty hunter, but you're not like, I have everything. Like you don't have especially like the people who are closer to the normies who are like,
okay,
like I don't know anything about Mandalore. I don't really, So it's like it makes you comfortable in the world, but allows it to create its own path.
Yep.
And that's why I like something like Enfys Nest or Crimson Dawn, where it's like, okay, we have some characters that we know, but we can just go like we have the underworld Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we can like use, I think it's kind of the issue I think with Solo, the weird part is that I don't think anybody can really play Han Solo except for Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's a tough one to try to simulate or replace.
I think that's the like to me, I think we talked about earlier that time you take Ahsoka and you put Sabine and Ahsoka and Mandalore in that in between time. But are there any other like again? I'm an Andor guy, so like I'm like all right, and Rogue One. I'm like okay, Baze and Chirrut spinoff. Like I'll take those guys. Like where did they come from? How did they get there? Jin and Saw as young. But you have to have other things where you're like, okay, they let me wield the powers.
So have you read the Plagueis novel?
I've read nothing. Again, I've read.
So I haven't read a whole lot. I've read maybe like I have like a bookshelf with like 30 books that looks cool. I've read three maybe. Okay. So Plagueis is one of them, and Plagueis literally is episode 0. It connects into episode 1 so nicely, and it's Darth Plagueis, which is Palpatine's master, and then Palpatine is training a young Darth Maul in this book. So I would love to see like a live action version of Palpatine with Plagueis with the young Darth Maul. I would love to see that because the book was really, really good. If you listen to it on audio, you might enjoy it, man. It's just crazy how they set everything up in Phantom Menace from behind the scenes.
Like maybe I'll have to try because like I'm looking like I don't like Phantom Menace. Like I see again. Like not again. We're not getting into sequel territory.
Yeah.
6 original movies, it's my least favorite.
Like, yeah.
Most people don't like Attack of the Clones. I'm like, listen, Yoda went Bruce Lee on everybody at the end of that movie, and
Django.
I'm like, yeah, it's like I'm like there were moments in there that kind of carried the way for me, but. Again, the Gungans and it just didn't feel like we talked about at the beginning. Didn't feel like Star Wars to me. But there was and the God complex, metachlorines. You're like, wait, is Space Jesus? I'm like, no, like don't do this to me. But again, if there's more to it, maybe that makes it better. right?
Yeah,
Like,
so Plagueis would be one thing. I would love to see Plagueis stuff, the Maul Invader stuff, and then probably after Return of the Jedi, seeing Luke build his Jedi Academy, seeing Han and Leia have young Ben Solo. I would love to see something with that, man. That'd be really cool.
that's where I thought we were going to get into in Mando, or Book of Boba. Like, we're like, oh, he's building the Jedi Temple, and it's like,
Yeah.
why can't we? Like, there's sometimes I think you don't need to go all the way there. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I'm going to explain it, but you're going to be like, the Millennium Falcon lands there, and it's like you see a little kid get off of the
right away.
Falcon.
Yes.
I don't need the whole thing, but you're like, oh,
There's Ben.
Ben Solo's coming here. It's like, I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the mystery is sometimes better, and that's another Boba Fett thing, which is like, I think everybody loved Boba Fett till he got a lot of screen time. It's like, that band where the drummer sings one song and you love it, and they're like, oh wait, they gave him 4 more, and you're like, maybe we should have just stuck with one.
Yep.
One song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that, like, at the end of Solo, like, you'll probably be able to correct me here, is that like one of the 2 tubes is there. I'm not sure if there are all. Yeah. I don't know if that is one of the actual 2 tubes or if there are lots of them, but I'm like,
I think there's
a connection.
So that actor was at ICCC, and my buddies met him and was asking him about that. So I guess there's 2 of them. They're brothers. One's a pilot and one is a regular one. Yeah. So there is 2 of them. Yeah, there is 2 of them.
Well, I just meant, like, is there a whole species of them? It was like, if that was one of the 2 of them, it's like we have a direct connection to Saw Gerrera. It's like, so
yeah.
Now we're like taking Crimson Dawn and Enfys Nest into Saw Gerrera and the Rebellion. There's so many cool connections there, especially if they were like, we're going to make it animated, where you could have Ashley come in as Ahsoka. Like, there's so many. That's why I love that era, because of animation. Like you mentioned, you collect Simpsons cards as a kid.
Yeah,
like, you're still getting Simpsons.
I know.
40 years later, because they don't have to age, and I think some of that we have to take advantage of in that time frame.
Yeah,
like, Ashley can come back next week and do Ahsoka's voice. And
she's always ready, man. She's always, man. I almost met her at MegaCon a couple weeks ago, but I need to meet her because everyone says she's so nice and she takes like her time with you and stuff. So yeah, she's next on my list. I might get this bad boy signed, this out of 10 that I have just sitting here. That would look cool, signed by Ashley.
Yeah, I again, I'm such a purist. I'm such a
the rookie card guy.
Give me the rookie card. Like, I'm such a, like, because that's a beautiful, like, when we get in the art side of it, it's like, I love Star Wars art. I love it. Yeah. I think it's great. I don't know its value or its place. You know what I mean? Like, the idea of, like, I like, all art is like, there's super expensive art, and then there's kind of everything else.
Yeah.
There's a lot in between, and like, one of the things that's always got me, and you have a lot of experience going to cons, it's like, why is a sketch card from Topps by an artist worth $2,000, but I can go to a con and get them to do whatever I want for $150?
I know. It doesn't make sense. Like, even like some of these like lower numbered autograph cards, like, why is this out of 5 out of 10 autograph card going for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000? I could go meet them at this show and pay $100 to get an autograph and get that experience. It just, some of it doesn't make sense to me.
There's provenance, the idea of the rare, like, pack pulled rare, but I think it's kind of like, it's a scale, right? Like, where it's like, okay, it makes sense that Topps has, this thing of, we make it rare, we're the brand, but you kind of cross that bridge. It's like, again, I could send a card to Japan to get paid, not paid. I always mix up Pedro and Diego.
They're both in Narcos.
Yeah, yes, they are. Even better. Although, now I'm going to go down Narcos. Pedro's character didn't really have anything to do with what you call it, Escobar. I went down a Narcos rabbit hole like 4 years. I found out that, like, Narcos is like, I love it. I don't want to learn, because I found out, like, Amato, like the King of the Skies, richest drug dealer ever. $40 billion when they arrested him. $40 billion.
Damn.
Yeah, king of the skies. Yeah, but no, but Diego, that I could get an on-card inscribed auto for $300, like inscribed, what I want. But like a sticker auto on a Galaxy card, they want $1,000. I'm like,
it's crazy. And to each their own. Like if you collect it, that's cool. But I'd rather get the experience and have the same end result, an autograph card.
Yeah, in the in-person part, like again, I would send it away. But like if he were at a con close enough to me, I'm not. There are reasons that I feel about, like, I'm not a line waiter. So like
that's why you got to get VIP. You skip the line.
Yes. Now you've definitely informed me that if I ever go to a Star Wars celebration, it's like you have to get VIP. Which is the same true. If you ever go to the National Card Show, get VIP. Same.
I'm going.
Oh, you're gonna go?
Sam told me about it. He's like, "You heard of Nationals?" I'm like, "No." And then he put me onto it. So I think he sent me a couple of the cards too. I got my hotel booked. I'm going, 100% going. And I was only gonna do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and come back Saturday morning. But then he told me Saturday night is the Star Wars trade night, so I'm staying through Sunday.
Reach out to all the Star Wars people. It has changed over the years. I've only been once. When I went, there were no Star Wars cards. Now there are.
So last year there were Star Wars cards at the Topps booth, and I saw, like, I guess you have to bring like a box there sealed, and then you'll get a pack. And I'm seeing people open a pack and pull a 101 Samuel L. Jackson Mace Windu autograph, and then Sam, didn't he pull like a 101 Kira autograph?
Yeah.
That's not for that chance. I'm going to Chicago, baby.
I mean, it's a fun thing, but I just meant the overall experience is like, there are whatever, a few thousand tables. It used to be like you would find 5 tables of Star Wars cards. Now it's probably 50 or 100, but most of it's sports.
I learned that from going to local card shows. So since I've been getting into cards, and here in Tampa, there's card shows once a month, twice a month. And I've been going, like, they're all over Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete. Bro, nothing Star Wars. And there's like 100 tables. This guy might have one card. That's it. It's so disappointing when I go to these things.
I bet, trust me, when I went to the Nationals, I saw Luke, whatever, and some kid goes, "Do you think that's worth it?" They were selling a Luke rookie. I'm like, "Hey, it all depends on this and this and this." Like, I don't know. I'm like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, I had a Luke rookie with me, and I was like, I sold it to him and his dad. I was like, there's somebody here who wants 500 for it. I'm going to give it to you for 150 because that's what it should be. Yeah. And I felt bad. I was like, actually, I would love to just give this to you, but I was like, I felt wrong because it was like almost like the dad was trying to teach his son, like, but man, there was nothing. But what you will find is, like, it's changed. First of all, you said you like Pokemon. There's a ton of Pokemon, and there's tons more of Star Wars, Game of Thrones, everything. But like, you'll go up to a booth and they'll sell all those sets you're talking about. Like, you went to that booth there, and like they'll have the Breaking Bad set, or they'll have a 40 or a Family Guy, or like I just go deep. Like, that's my jam. Of like, I have lots of Breaking Bad cards. I have like Walking Dead. You name it. I've just like that's the fun part about cards to me, is that like you just basically go, what do I like? And then you go, do they have cards? Outside of Star Wars, Back to the Future, what are your pop culture influence? Like, what do you watch? Or
so, like, Star Wars, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones. That's what I grew up on. That's my childhood. I do love Marvel. So, like, starting, in the 90s with the cards and the animated series in the 90s, I used to watch all the time. And to now with all the movies and stuff. So I do enjoy Marvel. I mean, I'm a big Nintendo guy, so I love, like, Mario, Zelda. Legend of Zelda is my favorite video game franchise. Like, I bought PSA 10 Zelda 1989 card from Sam's over there. Yeah. The sticker card.
Again, I go deep. Like, Mario's quote unquote rookie, 1981. I think 1981. They're Donkey Kong cards. So you get Mario and Donkey Kong. They're gorgeous. I just bought a couple PSA 9s for like, again, this is collecting. This isn't like speculation, going to be a millionaire. I'm like, I just love it. I bought a couple PSA 9s for like $25, and they're just gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Just like, again, I've gone collecting so long. Basically, I'm at a point where I'm looking for a handful of cards that aren't for sale, and everything else I buy, it's like got to be something that tugs at the heartstrings. On some level. But I'm feel so blessed on some level that I've been able to draw the lines in the sand, because like I mentioned Breaking Bad cards to you. I don't know if I want you to go down these holes.
I looked into it.
Rabbit holes.
I saw it, man. Like there's a lot of rabbit holes, but like I can only be in one, so it's just Star Wars. Because like even the Zelda cards, even the Back to the Future cards, some of them are hard to find on eBay. So like no, I'm just sticking with Star Wars for now, getting what I like and just having fun with it. But there's so many. Like when Sam sent me the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards, movie cards, those were freaking awesome. Oh,
I love there's like I have all the 4 Teenage Mutant. There's also a random card that says Hungry Mike, and my name's Mike.
Oh man.
Again, there's so much discovery. I have Rocky 2 cards because I'm from the Philadelphia area, and but also Rocky has his dog who isn't a bulldog, but he looks like a bulldog, and there's like Rocky and his dog, the champ, and his dog. Things that can just appeal to your nostalgia or who you are, and it's like it's a bit much. And Star Wars to me is, I have kind of everything that I want, and the new stuff doesn't appeal to me. So, but like, if again, you seem like you're going to continue down the Star Wars card path, I highly recommend just looking at that kind of 2015 through 2021 era, because it's more affordable than what you're seeing today.
I know, man. This new stuff is ridiculous, man.
And rare. Have you gotten any Rebels cards yet?
There's Rebels cards? Oh my god.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a quick little. This is a crash course on Rebels cards.
What year? What's the name of the set?
2015 Topps Star Wars Rebels.
So
it's one of the mysteries of Star Wars collecting. Okay. Because like I love Rebels. I actually, one of my close friends is one of the biggest Star Wars Rebels card collectors there is.
Nice.
But the thing is about that set is they didn't make serial numbered cards. They didn't make autographs, and nobody knows where they are. You cannot find these cards. Like if you want to buy a blaster box, they're like $150 or $200.
$175 for a blaster box on eBay right now. I just found.
Yes, wowzers. That's who's selling it. I'm telling you, like, is that the name of the seller? W-O-W. Or maybe not.
Wowzer. Yeah.
They were $60. He would sell 5, raise the price $10. Sell 5, raise the price $10.
Gray Star has it looks like a booster box with 24 packs for $750.
Again, it's a crazy thing because there's no serial number cards. The chase are these foil cards. These rainbow foil cards. You get one every 3 packs. So wait. So, or maybe every 2, you get like 3 in a blaster box, and there are 100 cards in the set. So the chase card is Sabine, and in all the years that I've been looking for this, I only know of 3 Sabine foils that have ever been pulled. My friend has 2. Like you cannot find these cards. Like it's so disproportionate. So that's like Sabine's true rookie, Ezra's true rookie, but these rainbow foils, which are the parallel, and it's like I want to interview somebody from Topps.
This rainbow foil of Chopper that's a PSA 9 is $2,000.
They're asking.
Yeah, no, they're asking. There's a Hera for $2,000. There's a Wookiee for $1,300 and a 10.
No, they don't sell for that. I'll just tell you because like I only opened up 1 box. I pulled a Chopper. I graded. I got a 10. I gave it to my friend. That's how good of a friend I am.
Yeah.
So I don't think if I thought it was a $2,000 card, I wouldn't have just been like, here, bro, have a nice day.
No, for sure.
But it is one of the great mysteries of Star Wars cards because at that time, everything they made had autographs or serial numbers. It was as if Topps didn't want to make these and they were forced to make them, and that you cannot find these. So as a Rebels fan, like even to get like a base set is hard. Like it's expensive. Like it's kind of a crazy, and they don't grade well. It's such a like again, you've got to be it's you're talking about like normies and sweaties. Like this is into the sweaty end of the Star Wars collection. They're beautiful cards. They're don't buy a box. Just don't. Like again,
it's tempting just to make a video out of it.
I like wait, maybe make an offer. Like maybe you get one, but like again, my buddy, I have to constantly talk him out of it. He wanted to build the foil set, which is really hard to do, and he's like, "I'm going to buy $5,000 worth of boxes." I'm like, "Don't do that. Don't."
That's crazy.
Please. I watched him open 8 boxes one day, and I'm like, "Dude, that was $1,200. You could have." See, he ended up. He's put together. I think he's almost done two foil sets now. So
wow.
Again, and they're not really known to exist. Another piece I'll give you about Star Wars collectors, that time frame, stuff was so cheap. Guys would buy stuff, they'd put them in a binder, and that's where they are, and you never see them.
Yeah.
It's like if you want a rare Rey rookie, rare Kylo rookie, rare Cassian, rare Jin, you don't find a rare Jin rookie just came up for sale. $5,000 they want for it. I mean, again, it's like asking $2,000 for the top.
Yeah.
You want, but like, there are cards you just don't see, and those are cards I love. Yeah. Well, we've been going for 2 hours. What didn't we cover? That I mean, we covered the whole universe, but there's got to be something. Got to be something.
I think we covered pretty much everything, man. We covered a lot.
Yeah, this is incredibly enjoyable to me. I like you. I'll have to shoot you a message. I'm very slow at shipping things, but I want to send you. Now, there are cards you need to own. Like Sam, like after talking to you for 2 hours, I'm like, there are cards I don't want you to go out and buy, because if I send them to you and you're like, I love this, then you can be like, all right, I'm going to go get a good one. It could be in front of you, like an Indiana Jones rookie. Like
I appreciate that.
Indiana Jones, Luke Skywalker. There's some stuff that like you just we have to indoctrinate you into this world. But
I appreciate that.
38 days till celebration. What do you want to tell my again? Well, I will say this other thing. I had no idea how many subscribers you had on your channel. None.
Oh,
I thought you had a nice little channel. You did whatever. I see you have 25,000 subscribers. So this was not like oh boy, I'm gonna like. I was just like, this guy loves Star Wars. Let's just talk shit. But like, for the pittance of subscribers I have that watch my stuff, what can you tell me about your channel?
So on my channel, my main focus is covering Star Wars Celebration convention. So you'll see a lot of that. But when that's not going on, sometimes I'm ripping packs live on my channel, video games, playing Star Wars video games, doing reactions to trailers, TV shows, sometimes toy hunts, unboxing collectibles, things like that. Anything and everything Star Wars. So if you like seeing a grown man waste his money on dumb Star Wars stuff, come over here.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
I'm the guy. Live through me.
Again, I'm all last thing before we go, because I just keep wanting. Did you get Star Wars Outlaws? Did you play Star Wars Outlaws?
Oh my God, I freaking hate Ubisoft. So yeah, I was one of the freaking jerks that paid the most expensive one to get it early, to get 3 days early access, because I wanted to stream it for the channel so people could see it and see if it was worth it. Boy, was it not worth it, because I did a 4-hour stream at midnight when it released, right? I wake up early the next day to continue playing, and I requested 3 days off from work so I could do a bunch of streams and so that people could see it early. The very next day, those scumbags released an update that deletes your data. And I was like, no, my time is valuable. I played 4 hours. I'm not starting from scratch on your game that was just okay so far. And I went back and forth with emails to Sony, emails to Ubisoft, sending me back to Sony, because I wanted my money back. I paid for early access, and you're taking that from me because now I have to redo everything. They did nothing for me. I stopped streaming the game. I'm like, I'm not giving you no advertisement. I told everybody, don't waste your money. It doesn't play good.
I would have watched. I've been limping along on my PS4 for a decade, and I know GTA 6 or GTA 6 is coming out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I was actually deciding between Xbox and a PS5, and the guy's I'm gonna get an Xbox because of the indie game, and he's like, nah, it's coming out. So I bought a PS5 to play Outlaws, and I'm like, I made it 2 hours, and I'm stuck in some freaking things. I'm like, I'm not cracking out videos on how to climb. Like, I'm done. And I just was like, all right. It was such a and I heard like there's a Kira
cameo in there. I think Boba shows up in there too and stuff, but I don't care. Lando and Hondo, I'm good. I'm not. Give me my money back, then I'll stream it and get through it. If not, I'm good. I just play Fallen Order and Survivor over and over, and Battlefront 2 and Force Unleashed, and I'm happy.
That was such a disappointing game where again, I've never played those games. Like,
play Fallen Order. Do you know what happens at the end?
I've actually watched the cutscenes, I think, of Fallen Order. Is that the first one? Or
that's the first one. Fallen Order is the first one, and there's a big surprise bad guy at the end, where if you don't know who it is, you'll be like, oh, it's a really good surprise.
Because I think somebody's like, you have to watch the cutscenes, and I watched but I don't remember. It's like the same type of thing. It was like, I watched Clone Wars, and so it was like, you have to watch Clone Wars. I watched it.
Yeah.
And I probably watched the first 3 seasons. I'm like, not for me.
Fallen Order is the better story. Survivor is like a little bit better gameplay and like stuff like that. But Fallen Order, the first one is, it's so good. So good.
I mean, I have to try because like I'm bad with like I said, I don't like to kill. I like to kill humans. Like I also like to use a gun. It's like I'm not as good with the lightsaber and like the force jumping, and like I think I like bought it or was downloading it and was in like the training part for like 2 hours, and I was like, all right, you know how sometimes those games get. It's like it's going to be another 4 hours before the game downloads, and I'm like, we'll get back to it. But I was interested to ask about Outlaws because you were if I could make a story where you were more disappointed than me, you're like, I took 3 days off of work. I'm like, oh yeah, that's worse than me buying a PS5.
Yep. I had it planned out, paid the $120 for the gold early access for nothing. I deleted the videos. I'm like, no, you're getting no free press from me, Ubisoft, you bastards.
So stupid. Like, again, I'm actually playing an Ubisoft game now. I'm playing Far Cry 6.
Oh, I think I have that with Giancarlo as the and you're playing as like that girl or something.
You get to choose. You can be a girl or a guy. I chose a guy because I don't know. I'm the type of person. The way I play video games is like, put me on the easiest level. I want the story. It's like an interactive story for me.
Yeah, I like that too.
There are 2 modes: normal people and people who are lame, who just want the story. I'm like, I'm the lame guy.
Me too.
Story. And I got through it. And I'm like, this was awesome. I loved it. And they're like, you know what? I think you're about 20% done the game, because now campaign modes are so short that like, I got duties. I'm like, this is awesome, but it was like 5 hours gameplay. I'm like 15 hours of gameplay into this thing. I'm like, oh wow. So Ubisoft, like, I don't know. If this was a Star Wars game, if you were like, they took Outlaws and made this the Outlaws game,
I
would have been like, that's all I need. An open world Star Wars game where I'm a smuggler and like I run into people. And it's not like, don't make me crawl through vents. I hate when, like, pick locks, crawl through vents, solve this puzzle. I'm like, no, I'm not here for that. Like, that's not what I get enough of this in the rest of my life. But all right, man. Well, I have enjoyed this absolutely thoroughly. I had no idea what to expect. You've been an absolute pleasure.
This was a blast, man. Thank you so much for having me on, man. I had so much fun too. 2 hours. I thought this was going to be like an hour. Like, if time flies when you're having fun.
And again, as a resource, if there's any questions you have about Star Wars,
of course,
hit me up on Instagram, because like I'm very frugal, and like you're looking at things. You're like $175. That seems like great. I'm like, wait 2 weeks.
No, that doesn't seem great, but like I love Rebels, so it's like, damn, if that's the only way I can get it.
Yeah, Rebels is but like, yeah, just again, before you buy, that's the biggest thing with Star Wars cards. We all are like, this looks amazing, and it seems like a good price, and then you're like, oh shit, like I didn't realize, you know, that one or whatever. But well, Tony Sith, it was absolutely amazing. I really appreciate it. For those that watched, thanks for watching. Tony, hold on for 1 second while we end the stream. Thank to everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. All right, let me end the stream. Is it ended?